Hello, everyone, and welcome to, episode 134 of the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. This week, I'm joined by Cameron.
Hello.
And Keo.
Hello, everyone.
And I'm Matt, as you would, I'm assuming, know if you're watching the video version or if you've ever listened to this podcast before. Again, I kind of mentioned this the other week, but I realized after all these episodes that I never actually introduced myself at the beginnings of these episodes. I just introduced the hosts, so...
That is true.
It's funny, right? Yeah, I didn't even think about it.
You know what? In situations like that is probably why RGS I confused Tarragon and Kirby.
Yeah, right.
First met them in person.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
This week we're going to talk about a bit of news. Got a few games. No, there's nothing hugely out of the ordinary happening unless you happen to work at Bungie or Intel.
Well, is that really out of the normal? Really?
Unfortunately, yeah, not super out of the normal. We've been playing a few video games. We got a nice community question. Someone won the word challenge. We'll talk a little bit about that. But as always, we're doing the show live on Twitch. Come hang out, say hi, hang out in the chat. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us, as always.
Mm-hmm.
But let's jump straight into our first community question here. I wonder who this one came from. It says, hey guys, what multiplayer achievement are you most proud of getting? Which was the hardest to get? Thanks.
Why don't you guys go? I need to look at a couple of my
answers.
games. Yeah.
Also,
I wrote some answers when I first saw this question.
I will just say before we start, this question came from the Moonzom. Because it's not in the card. Whoever put the question in didn't put the question writer in there, but that's fine.
No, it was from Isaac, wasn't it?
Nope, it's from the Moonzom. Like, I'm looking at it right now. No, actually, no, you're right. It is from Isaac. The Moonzom did respond though. So yes, let's first thing comes to mind. Cameron, you had a few ideas.
Destiny Flawless Raider.
Yeah, that's a fantastic fucking choice. Yeah.
I remember doing it with a 3-man group. We died the first time. We did Crota's Raid, which for any what's the best way to explain Crota's Raid? It's been like 10 years. Anyway, very end of the fight. You're basically going up against this big dude with a sword. He just whacks you. Yeah. Like last second of dying, basically whacks one of us. We die. The Flawless Raider, you need to do the whole raid without anybody dying.
Mm-hmm.
Crotty can do a few cheeses like jumping across the bridge. It's been so long. All I remember is having so much fun doing it. And immediately we got so close the first time we were just like, yeah, let's just run it again. And we managed to get it the second time.
Nice.
And that memory is still stuck with me like, 9 years later, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy to think about. That came out in 2014.
That is weird to think about.
Man, I'm all down. I would say Black Ops 360. Just because of the slog that me, Todd, and Adrian went through getting that done.
Mm-hmm.
And how much time it got done, and playing on the exact same map, and just running at each other to get kills. And, I mean, we I don't know if I'm proud of getting it.
Sure.
But it was definitely difficult.
Yeah, that's
just grind.
It's interesting, right? Because you have like grindy achievements, you have difficult online achievements. Most of the time, you can boost stuff. One of the ones that springs to mind for me is maybe a bit of a weird one. Master of Ceremonies for Fallout New Vegas, the original. So no, Rainbow Six Vegas. Master of Ceremonies required you to host a 16-player match and this was back in like 2008 when I was in New Zealand on New Zealand internet. And first of all, getting 16 players, the only way you could do a 16-player match was to turn your own account into a dedicated server. I had to call on literally every favor I had garnered over the years to try and get enough people together to do this. The game launched, I got the achievement, people couldn't open doors, people couldn't play the game, they were rubber banding all over the place, half the teams dropped out immediately. Like, the fact that I got that achievement is insane.
I'm just imagining that point in time too. You would have worked at EB Games.
Yeah.
So just imagining you camped up in the corner, just like being a little bit under the table, just like, hey, you want to help me get an achievement?
It was crazy.
I had a session for Wing Commander Arena this week, and I nearly forgot about it. Well, I did forget about it, and it's a 16-player one as well, and it's actually just get into a match with 16
Yeah.
players, and I was the only one who couldn't connect to anybody else
Yeah.
with a 320 ping.
Yeah, it's just
so. Eventually, we got the right person hosting at the right time for me to join, and then everyone else to join. But that thing took an hour. Yeah.
There is some crazy, like, some of the early 360 stuff, like, is just nuts in terms of their achievement requirements. I just happened to, I just went into my achievements and, like, looked by multiplayer highest ratio, and the entirety of my first page is all just Neverwinter achievements. Some of them here are just in here because they're all title updates, so not a lot of people have them, but there are some of them, like getting all the +5 Slayer rings in Cholt was... It has a... I lost it now. It has a ratio of 24.9.
They're pretty good achievements to have.
That one was a big team effort. I owe a lot of people favors for helping me with that, because that was crazy. Portal Dodger as well was a big one. A lot of big help doing 50 fish. There's some rare replay in there as well. I guess technically, rare replay is a bit of a weird one. Yes.
I don't know if this goes against the spirit of the question. I would also say, like, I'm doing Lords of the Fallen at the moment with co-op Stevie.
Yeah.
To me, there's like more memorable games than there is more memorable achievements.
Sure.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. When I answered the question, I put in Grinder Supreme from Dive Kick Edition. Which, again, still fucking great name for a game. Partly because it was a huge grind, because I literally don't know a single person who owns Dive Kick, so I had to double box it myself. And it's literally the achievement that got me to 1 million game score. Pretty important one to me. And I figured Grinder Supreme was a pretty good one for naming as well.
I've managed to pick out a few of basically the rarest stuff, which I guess was kind of like the proudest rare one would be managing to get all the most wanted ghosts in Ghostbusters, because that is glitchy as fuck.
Yep.
I did the triple play achievement in Destiny legitimately in PvP matches, which is Killer Hunter, Titan, and Warlock all at the same time, basically.
Wow.
Getting them all in like one hit. But I'd say for a multiplayer game that I technically did solo a couple of years ago, I did both versions of Terra, where there was supposed to be a shutdown, and you had to kill all the named bosses in 2 different areas. And so there was a run boss, which is killed named bosses in the Arun continent. You had to kill, I think it was like 12 bosses or something, and some of them were really easy, but I got to the point where I could just kill the Divine Reaver, which is one of the hardest ones, just by punching it.
Yeah.
So, right. Which I put a video of that on YouTube as well. So, like, that's up there as well. So it's like just solo run, and then I just was getting a few comments like, "How the fuck did you do that?" And it's like, well, and can I get a carry? I actually got a carry message a couple of months ago. It's like, can somebody carry me through Divine Reaver? And I'm like, okay, but I didn't help them. I was done with that game.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, and they're probably on PC. Oh, actually, no, they wouldn't be. I think the PC stuff they shut down.
Yeah,
but the console versions are the ones that actually stayed up.
Still going. Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, you had to do some really weird stuff, like you had to have like enough tickets to be able to fly to a certain area to teleport. If you didn't have, even if you had the ability to fly, you really just had to have tickets to teleport directly to the area to find all the bosses, and they were either there or they weren't there. And so that's probably what I'd say for me.
I got a few multiplayer ones that just sort of, I was looking at my list. The Kane and Lynch leaderboard achievements, those are probably my most proud multiplayer achievements ever. Just because the sheer amount of subterfuge and bullshit and sleepless, like literally sleepless days that I went through to get those achievements, I still cannot believe I have those.
That is the goat.
Yeah, that's
right there.
actually insane. There was another. Also, the Burnout Paradise remastered ones, I think, was a really good one that a lot of us worked on. I think that was really great. I really enjoyed doing the multiplayer for that because that was my biggest concern about starting that
It was
game.
a great collaborative effort. So like getting everyone together actually in the server.
Yeah,
So
that was
they wanted to do it.
And then the other one that springs to mind is Binary Domain. I talked about this months ago, but that was one that I had on the backlog for a very, very long time. The only way to finish it was there was challenges for finishing each of the 3 like horde modes, doing all 50 waves. You needed a really good dedicated team of 4, and it was tough. It was really tough.
Right. Okay.
It was one of those ones that I just didn't think I was ever going to get, and I managed to get that sort of early 2023. It looks like. Oh man, yeah. There's and then of course Fear 2, which wasn't really like difficult. It was just a massive fucking grind.
I put down the Eliminator.
Yeah.
I don't think it's hard, but this has not been asked.
No. I'm with you. Like,
I do not think Eliminator is hard.
It's clearly a challenge for a lot of people, though, right? Like if you read the comments on, especially for Horizon 4 and 5, I guess. If you look at the Eliminator related achievements, that's probably the ones that have the most amount of comments on them, and the most amount of people struggling with them, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
I think.
I wouldn't say like I'm proud of getting it though. I just think like it's probably one of the harder ones that I've done.
Saints Row 2 Kingpin getting 30 badges on that.
Yeah, we did that not too long ago actually. Another really good collaborative one that you need people for is Juice 2. Hot Import Nights, because you have to have enough people in the lobbies, and you can like the lower tier ones only require a couple of people for a couple of things, but then you need more and more and more people as you go up the tiers. So everyone kind of has to be on the same level, the same tiers, and then there's pink slip stuff that you have to worry about, and and all kinds of stuff along those lines along the way. So if you don't go match up properly with your specific group, you get into a whole lot of trouble trying to keep everyone in the same league to get them all. But yeah, so I met a few of the guys in that actually that I know. So some good Xbox gamer friends from Juiced. So we needed like 8 people eventually. So
yeah, right.
I just thought of a few others. Blackout. Like this isn't any one particular achievement, but I guess all the collective achievements for Blackout, Black Ops 4.
Yeah.
Are pretty difficult, I would say. What was the other one? I'm wondering if my memory's confusing me. Final Fantasy 15 Comrades.
Yes.
Isn't there like a?
Yeah, there is. I was going to bring that up actually. Yeah. I was thinking
Conehead kind of boss
beating
fight.
Kenny, the
That's it, Kenny.
the mascot dude. Yeah, he's fucking tough.
Yeah. Kenny was really good though. His laser eyes and all kinds of stuff in that fight. So yeah, I did that with quite a few people actually. So yeah, there's a lot of RNG stuff.
I was going to bring up was the Vidmaster achievements for Halo 3 and Halo 3 ODST.
Yeah.
Staying connected to people,
man,
in that ODST one.
Still great. It was still great to redo those achievements in Master Chief Collection. Just the Halo 3 is so fucking good.
To me, that feels like what the spirit of multiplayer achievement
for
should
sure.
be.
For sure.
Yeah.
Another couple that I just sort of noticed going through my list, getting double S rank on Dead or Alive 4's online mode, because you could only get a certain amount of XP each week. Like, if you were fighting the same opponent, they would eventually stop giving you XP for a week. So I had an ongoing thing where one person was ranking down to F rank and I was ranking up to S rank, and then we had to swap, and we had to do it week by week by week. It took months.
It's like 7 matches or something.
Something like that. Yeah, it took fucking forever. And also doing like the Risk, like the Generals League and Risk, you had to do a lot of like matchups and try to like game the system of how many points you got so you didn't overrank. And it was Oh man, I'm glad that I've steered away from doing a lot of multiplayer games anymore. Like I just realized that just I've wasted so much time on a lot of these games that just were not worth it.
I have a very, very short list of what's left.
Mm.
And like I'll talk about one that I've been doing on the 360 this week. Holy crap.
Yeah,
We
me
did
too.
it in a week. So
That's crazy. All right. Well, hopefully that answers your question there, Isaac. What kind of responses we got? Moonzon mentioned Friday the 13th, which I think is a really, really good point because that was a huge, insanely grindy multiplayer game. Having to do 1,000 matches as Jason, 1,000 matches as the counselors, you're just there forever. Yeah, a group of 5 people grinding every night for a month straight. Yeah.
It just becomes a point where it's not fun.
Yeah, like I didn't start that game for that exact reason. Like I was like, it looked interesting, but I was like, I just don't have the. It's just not worth the time.
yeah,
anymore.
I have it on my tag. I am just not motivated. And you can do a lot of it with 2 people now, and you do start, I think, max level or level 13 or something, whatever they buffed for everybody.
But it still just takes forever, you know.
But there's also some modes that are broken. There's some server-based thing that basically got cut out, but you can't. You have to do all the different Jasons, and
Yeah,
you
right.
can't play with all the Jasons because that was locked behind some online server thing that isn't there now or something.
Jason.
So, yeah,
Jason. I was also gonna say, Overwatch.
Yes. Yeah.
PvE events were really like, I think there
Junkenstein
was 2 uprising on expert mode without anybody going down, stuff like that. There was really nice challenges in that as well. Like I'm looking at all my high ratio stuff, but then there's stuff like Age of Empires defeat 3 human players 12 point.
Yeah, just because like no one's done it. Yeah, exactly. Like the ratio stuff is a very interesting idea of like multiplayer achievements being high ratio is such an interesting kind of dissection of ratio as a concept, right? Because it's kind of it is very much about rarity, not about difficulty when it comes to that kind of stuff. Sigma in the chat says binary domain multiplayer was tough. Yep, and then Space Marines Exterminatus was like there again. It's very similar, like four player horde mode thing was really
still
tough if you didn't have a
trying
good team.
to find a 4-player for that.
Yeah,
So we've got 3 of us, and we just need 1 more. And because it's not worth doing with just the 3 of you.
You have to have 4 people for it. Yeah.
So we've tried.
I smashed my head against that a lot. I had a team of 3, and we keep getting we would put up sessions for a 4th. This was years ago. And we got a bunch of people who were just absolute trash. And like to be fair, like I was not great at the game by any means, right? But you're the kind of people who pick the assault class when you need to pick the heavy, and you're just like losing lives and shit. It was, fuck me. I'm so that's one of those ones I'm super proud about getting because it took several tries.
That would have been a good one.
But yeah, if you've got good, interesting ones you want to add, go on our Discord and jump in the podcast question channel. You can answer there, and we'll probably give you a shout out on the next episode. Yep. All right. Cameron, you found some news for us. What's been going on in the world?
Yeah, so just starting off, because I was feeling very sad that I wasn't going this year. Xbox has 50 plus titles at Gamescom 2024, presentations of major exclusives and more, such as Avowed and Starfield's DLC. So August has only just begun, but already the Xbox team has outlined its plans for Xbox at Gamescom 2024. We'll also see like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This year it's going to take place between August 21st and 25th. Pretty much just like running through the list of stuff they've got, like Xbox Game Studios. They got Age of Mythology. They just did their beta testing for Steam as well.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So
yeah, like just this last week.
It's not too far off, right? It's pretty...
next month.
Yeah, right. It's pretty, yeah.
I need to book some leave for it because I will want to smash through it. I'm really hoping they don't have the play 1,000 matches achievement.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm curious about it
They
too.
had before. Ara History Untold, Avowed, Towerborn, Forza Horizon 5, Microsoft Flight Sim and Sea of Thieves.
What are they doing for Horizon 5? Are they...
They just got like a hands-on thing.
Are they
Why?
doing...
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Like, interesting that they picked Forza Horizon 5 and not Motorsport.
Yeah, is that one of their flagship sellers? But...
Is it though?
Okay, like just from like a recency point of
Yeah.
view, right? Like if you were going to be promoting Forza as a franchise, you probably would put Motorsport forward.
Yeah. You would not put Motorsport forward, actually.
Well, no, actually you wouldn't from how we've reviewed, sure, but I think like from Horizon 5 is like at this point is a relatively
Right.
old game.
Maybe it's
life service,
because it's
Sure.
showing off Playground because of Fable.
Yeah, or it's
But
they've got a Forza Horizon 6 in the works and they just want to remind people that Horizon still exists. I don't. Yeah, but Zax is maybe a new DLC for 5. I'm pretty sure they said they were pretty much
Forza
done
Horizon
with 5. I
5
don't know.
still exists.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
I think they're done with 5, but yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I was done with 5.
We'll get it done.
I'm trying. I'm working on a different Forza. All right.
Yeah, we'll speak about that later. Bethesda is showing off Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. God, that name still sounds like feels weird to me.
It is a little bit weird, right? But
it just
to be
doesn't
fair, they
roll
did
off the
release
tongue.
the Dial of Destiny as the movie, so like I think naming conventions are just kind of out the window.
Yeah. Starfield Shattered Space. The Elder Scrolls Online Gold Road. Fallout 76 Milepost Zero. And Doom the Dark Ages, which will have a photo opportunity. Blizzard Entertainment will have WoW, The War Within, Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred, and Diablo Immortal. And then partner studios, they've got Valorant, Star Wars Outlaws, Little Nightmares 3. What's Little Nightmares 3 coming out?
It got delayed. I think it's next year.
It got delayed?
Yeah.
Because that's the one that's not getting done by the original
Yeah, it got moved.
getting passed off to a
Yeah.
new studio, right?
Yeah.
Date Everything, which I saw a little bit of this week. Looks pretty fun. Space Marines 2, Stalker 2, Dustborn, Commandos Origins, Farming Sim 25, Fortnite Festival, Marvel Rivals, Make a Break, Planet Coaster 2, Adamfall, and Visions of Mana. And then indie selects, you've got Scroll for Gun.
Yes, looking forward
which
to that.
I'm just looking forward to. The Alters, which I'm really looking forward to. Descenders 2, which is a typo.
What?
I saw Mike Rose post about there is no Descenders 2 in development.
Really?
Why is it on the? Okay, all right.
They made a mistake.
Okay, all right.
So I don't know if they just put Descenders out because Descenders part of the core Xbox. What's the core service? You know, those free like rotating
Game Pass
games
core,
that you can
yeah.
play.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw somebody comment on it and just like, you know what, this is a wonderful opportunity. You just need to develop Descenders 2 before
August
games
25th.
come
Yeah,
out.
just, yeah.
Yeah, be fine.
Put a little trailer together.
Winterboro, which I'm starting to see posts, still early in development, but they're like getting content creators around. Void Train, it's interesting. Replace, which I'm very keen on.
Yeah, we haven't. That got delayed a bunch, and we haven't seen it for a long time.
Ukraine studio.
Yeah, which makes
The
sense.
same as Stalker, really. Overthrown, Parcel Cops, Kill Knight, Tales of Iron 2, Whiskers of Winter. All You Need Is Help, Creatures of Avia, Train Sim World Force, Star Trucker, Let's Build a Dungeon, Spirit of the North 2, and Funko Fusion.
Okay, like a good amount of indie games. A lot of that I haven't heard of before, which I'm always keen to like. That's always what I'm most excited about is interesting stuff.
The ones I'm keen for on that list: Scroll for Gun, Alters, Replaced, Creatures of Ava, which will come out on the 8th, I want to say.
Okay, yeah, it's
8th or
not
the
too far away.
6th. Yeah, not too far. The only one I've seen on this list that I'm really not keen for is Funko Fusion. Does not look.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I know. I remember.
It looks like IP grab, you know, just
Yeah.
not great at all.
No, we'll see. We'll see about that.
So Game Pass is turning out fun with exciting setup, reminding players that they can discover their next favorite game across devices. Guests will have an opportunity to explore different sections dedicated to PC, console, and cloud as they learn all the different ways to play their favorite games. On top of this, exclusive Gamescom 2024 prizes available through claw and gacha machines. Guests have the opportunity to play the big green button for a chance to win prizes, including Game Pass tokens, variety headsets, cloud gaming devices, and more. It was huge last year when I was there.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, this is kind of they want to have a big showing for the end of the year. Zach in the chat points out that's interesting that Black Ops 6 isn't on that list.
Actually, that's a good point.
I mean, they didn't do that deep dive. after
Maybe
E3.
it's one of those things that like it's so big that they know they don't need to show it off.
That's fair, yeah. Like Gamescom is very much like has very much been pitched as back in the day. It was you show things at E3 and things are hands on at Gamescom.
Yeah,
And it's
they're
like-
kind of on their own media track.
For
that
sure.
game. So,
How many of these games do you think are coming to Game Pass? Especially in the indie section, at least.
Everything in Xbox Game Studios, everything Bethesda,
Yeah.
Blizzard, everything but Diablo Immortal. Oh, that's all Hatred's DLC, Warframe's DLC,
Yeah.
Immortal.
I more mean like partner studios, probably nothing of those. Like those all look like marketing opportunities for them to try. I mean, outside of Stalker 2. Space Marine 2 definitely is not coming to Game Pass, but or at least not like I'm talking like at launch.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of these went up on Game Pass at some stage, but there's a lot of indie games here they're talking about.
A lot of the indie games have already announced for Game Pass.
Yeah, exactly. So
I would say all the indie selects are probably going to, at least 90% of them will probably be coming to Game Pass.
yeah,
maybe not Funko Fusion.
maybe not.
Yeah.
We can hope.
Unless it's like bare bones and you have to buy all the pop stuff. So
I don't know. I haven't looked into Funko Fusion enough, but just like from a top-down view, it immediately gives me like Lego Dimensions kind of vibes.
Yeah, that's definitely what they're
Like,
going
you know.
for. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Just add-on IP kind of, yeah.
I'm curious. I mean, I'm sure like they usually do some sort of small announcements at Gamescom, so maybe they'll have some Game Pass release dates for this kind of stuff.
Last year they had the, what was it? It was like a set stage arena where they like filmed every day.
Right.
Like that was in the heart of the I guess the Xbox kind of hall stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember if Xbox shared like a hall with Sega. Because it was a very big space. Like you could easily spend a whole day just going through all the Xbox stuff and waiting around. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I just added that in because I'm sad I'm not going this year.
Fair.
That's pretty much it.
I'm sure we'll report
right.
on at the end of the month, kind of what they announce, what's shown, and what people.
Yeah, I'll be watching along. We can go through it. All right, next story. Activision addresses rise in Call of Duty cheaters following Xbox Game Pass launch.
Who could have seen this happening?
Absolutely no one. So Activision released a statement addressing the spike in cheaters. According to Activision, there was an issue with the Ricochet anti-cheat detection system, which resulted in a spike in cheater reports. Now this has apparently been fixed, and cheaters in the first-person shooter would be less prevalent. A lot of discussion surrounding cheaters in Call of Duty has been around the Windows Store version of COD Modern Warfare, the one that I'm actually playing at the moment. And I don't think it's been that bad. From what I've spent most of this week trying to get to level 55.
Okay.
Are you playing console?
Yeah, I'm just playing on console. Yeah, but I'm only doing campaign at the moment.
okay.
Yeah, I've probably had like 2 matches. I will say the Windows version, when I get to it, there's a lot of bugs, which I'll bring up. Yeah. Cheating being far less on console, Charlie Intel speculates that naughty PC players could be using a method to mask their platform, making them harder to identify. In Activision's latest statement, the team says Ricochet is able to detect the specific platform for all users, despite how they may appear in-game. Taking things one step further, Activision has now deployed an update to differentiate the in-game UI icons displayed for Xbox players and PC players who are using Game Pass.
Right, because realistically, most people, if people want to get back into the game to cheat, they're going to probably be using a much cheaper Game Pass subscription than buying the whole game again.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to touch the multiplayer, to be honest, but
You don't really need to.
Yeah, you can just get to level 55 through zombies.
which you needed to kill a shitload of zombies anyway, so
Yeah, you do.
sure I'll be spending a lot of time.
50,000 or something. Yeah, totally. You'll
Maybe.
be fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we could all play now if we're all actually on it. So we
Yeah,
can,
I'm keen to. I'll talk a little bit about it when we get to what we've been playing, but I need something. I need to play some other stuff. So doing some zombies actually sounds pretty good right now.
Yeah. And I would say I do miss like the old school zombies.
Sure.
Like this whole like war zone kind of zombies.
Just not the same.
Yeah.
I didn't mind this one. But yeah, no, it doesn't change outside of what it is.
Yeah.
So, but that's coming back apparently. So,
All right. Moving along, Xbox has a Discord update which will allow friend activity and the ability to watch streams from console. Microsoft Discord have announced the next suite of features coming to the Discord integration. So if you're sharing a screen from PC, mobile, or another Xbox, you'll be able to watch whatever your friends are playing. Yeah, that's the unified list will be found under Happening Now. Alongside Xbox friends and parties of games, Discord users can jump into a voice channel, watch a friend streaming, or initiate a call or from the Xbox console. Do you guys go under like Happening Now much?
I've literally never used it.
Never.
I
Actually,
don't
no.
like. Here's the things like. I know I do a podcast, right? So I need to, and we have a community, but like I don't actually give a shit what other people are playing for the most part. I don't really. I don't watch like I don't watch streams. I don't watch Let's Plays anymore for the most part. Like outside of just like background noise, with like like the occasional reaction streamer who does the occasional like gameplay thing of interesting games. But I'm not there to watch people play Apex Legends or Fortnite or fucking Black Ops. Like it just doesn't appeal to me at all.
I might put somebody on the background like while they're playing something during the day. Just to have like a background noise kind of thing.
I can understand that.
But
Yeah.
like I work a job where I work a job as a community manager, but I would say like social interaction is at a minimum throughout the day.
Sure, yeah, we work remotely, so yeah, that's kind of how it goes. Yeah, I get you.
But sometimes like what's happening now and that I'll just browse what other people may be playing just to get a feel of like, maybe a game's taken off. Like, I'll use an example. I see like one other person on my list out of 200 playing Flintlock.
Yeah,
Like you're the only other person that I've known that's talked about it, and that's a bit worrying.
doesn't surprise me though, to be honest.
Yeah.
Mm.
But like, I try and get a gauge of like what, half my list when Elden Ring's DLC came out, just on it. So
Yep, no, that makes
good
perfect.
to give you a perception of who's playing what. Yeah, I thought this would be a good story just to chuck in there. I don't mind watching other people's streams if I'm just having conversation with them. I mean, it's always good to have these kind of features too if you need to help somebody in a game.
Yes,
Oh, for
definitely
sure.
through the
Yeah.
console. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like let's just jump on a Discord call. All right, yeah, I'm up to here. So yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because I'm noticing a few games lately too, they'll release a patch that breaks a collectible or something.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of, was it Still Wakes the Deep?
they changed some stuff in
They
there.
got an
yeah, so-
update that
so the
changed it?
guides
Yeah.
aren't 100% accurate anymore, which is a bit of a pain.
Yeah, and there were a couple of games that came out broken with collectibles.
Yeah,
Sorry.
more than a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, thought I'd quickly add this one in. All right, the other stories I've got is basically so Matt can get on his soapbox and be very happy. So take it away.
Yeah, sweet. So first one here, this one sort of came out towards the end of last week. Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver remasters could finally be happening. So we saw some surveys for this. I filled out the survey, basically telling them that if they did a remaster or a sequel, I would buy both day one, which I will stick to. But apparently at SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con, there was some statues of Raziel and Kain, who are the two dueling protagonists in the series.
Yeah.
And it looks like the branding on it says Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered. So it looks like they are at least doing the Raziel story, which, while I'm like, to be fair, the Raziel story is the best part of Legacy of Kain. But the thing is, Kain does not feature very heavily. Well, okay, the Legacy of Kain series has like 5 games in it. Sorry, 6 games in it. So you have Blood Omen, where you play as Kain, which was a top-down Diablo-style looter with vampire abilities. Blood Omen 2, which was a very weird PS2 action game where you play as Kain. And then you had 2 Raziel games, which is Soul Reaver 1 and 2, which was PS1 and PS2.
PS2.
Soul Reaver is definitely probably the most consistent part of the series and the most beloved. Raziel is like a fan favorite and fucking one of the coolest characters of all time. And then you had Defiance, which was the last game that they released, which was a combination where you play as both of them back and forth and you'd switch, which was super cool. And then they were like, cool, and then it left on a fucking cliffhanger and they never fucking solved it. So I am very, very happy that Soul Reaver 1 and 2 coming back as remastered collection makes perfect sense. I'll play the shit out of both of them. I would love for them to continue the series or find some way of rebooting it or something along those lines, because I understand that bringing back Blood Omen is probably not, in this day and age, is like not the right move. You'd basically make a new series based on this. Yeah,
I like how as soon as you said that, immediately Darkness 2 just jumped in my head, being like,
very much, like that's for sure. Like there is definitely like
so many games that.
Yeah.
I could go on about Legacy of Kain for a long time. Like it's one of those games, like, you know, we talk about games that kind of are like formulative in terms of like our, like why we play video games and why we enjoy them. So like for me, it's like Dark Souls was a big one for me in terms of like understanding like kinds of genres that I enjoyed. Final Fantasy X is one of those ones that's like really got me into JRPGs in a way that I'd like never been able to recreate. It's Chasing That Dragon. This is the one that got me into narrative in video games. Like the Soul Reaver 2 in particular is so interesting and deep, and it has so many plot threads, and it's nearly like, I tried to explain it to someone once and I needed a fucking flowchart, because you have Raziel, you have Kain, you have vampires, you have time travel, you have people dying, people not dying, you have like recursion circle. Like, I mean, let me put it this way. I mean, I fuck it. Soul Reaver 2 is an ancient game, so I will say the ending of that game. Basically, the final boss of that game is the past version of yourself who you kill that leads you to the position where you are now, basically. You fight the human version of yourself, get killed, come back as a vampire, get your wings ripped off, go through the whole events of Soul Reaver 1 and Soul Reaver 2 to come back to be the thing that kills you. It's so fucking good. And like, to be fair, like I know that I'm wearing rose-tinted glasses with this, because those games had like the platforming was kind of rough, the puzzle stuff was a little bit rough. Like those games are very, very jagged around the edges, but the core of them is so good that I'm just like, this is like day one for me. I'm jumping on it straight away.
Yeah, I've only played the first Soul Reaver, and that I ended up from like a cash converters or something at some point when I was younger. So I just kind of happened upon it. But there's 3 games that I call upon, basically in terms of like stuff that I always went back to. And it was, well, Tomb Raider as a series, the trilogy went and did that over and over again. Legacy of Kain, so this first Soul Reaver, and Shadow Man.
Yeah.
So no matter what I could do, like I would always go back to these games. And Legacy of Kain, like as a game, was so in depth in terms of like actually the mechanics of those other games were nothing compared to what you could do with this game.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Yeah.
It was the definition of a game like pushing so hard on different like mechanics and things, and like things that were just, if they made that game today, I feel like they could probably do a lot more of what they wanted to do. But the fact that they got so far on like the PlayStation 1 and Dreamcast with the original Soul Reaver was just absolutely incredible. Yeah, I could talk about it fucking forever. And they've been teasing it forever. You know, they've released skins and stuff. Crystal Dynamics has done like, what was it back in the day? What was that? The Lara Croft game? The 360 one, Guardian of Light, I think it was.
Yeah, okay, the isometric one.
Yeah, where you have the 2 characters. Like they released like Kain and Lynch skins for the 2 characters, and they released Raziel and Kain skins for it, and they just kept fucking teasing us with it. So yeah, I will always get on my soapbox for this series.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna feel when Aspire releases this?
I'll fucking play. I don't give a shit.
If they did what they did with the Tomb Raider series, like it's fine.
That's fine.
Tomb Raider is fine. It's Star Wars.
Yeah, well, I did play Battlefront, and it was pretty rough, but it was fine. Like, to be fair, like I'm just happy. Like, there isn't really a nice, easy way for me to play these games right now. So just having the ability to play them again and get achievements, I'm super fucking all in.
Yeah.
And then the other story, which is on the other end of the spectrum of games that I fucking love, which is like, you know, I talked about like, you know, games that define me. Suda51 is one of those people who define games that fucking fuck with my head and make me realize that Japanese developers are insane. So Suda51 and Shinji Mikami basically said that they want to do a complete edition of Killer 7 and a sequel, which I'm super fucking on. Suda51 can do whatever he wants, you know? Like, I love No More Heroes. I really enjoyed Shadows of the Damned and Killer is Dead and all that kind of weird, all the weird, strange, surreal shit that he makes. And it all really started with Killer 7 was a big part of his. Again, I know he did games, but they did games before that. But yeah, sequel could be called Killer 11 or Killer 7 Beyond. Apparently,
I was gonna say Shadows of the Dam's getting remastered this year, isn't it?
yes, it is. Yeah, yeah, which is great because I don't think that game is available anywhere anymore. And I just want to hear the main character just yell "Taste my big boner" while he's holding a giant gun to his crotch and just humping at enemies. Oh man! Also, like I love Shinji Mikami, like the of Resident Evil 4 fame in particular, and Evil Within. Yeah, I definitely think Killer 7 would need some real work done to it to do like a proper version today, because I think it was like really interesting ideas that just I don't think would work mechanically in a lot of ways these days. I think they would definitely have to do a lot more to it. But yeah, I would be super about it to at least have a re-release of these, because also another series that's kind of hard to play these days.
Yeah, I've never played them actually. Yeah, so
yeah, definitely recommend pretty much anything Suda 51's done. Achievement wise, his games are pretty rough though, so it's good to play just maybe on an alt. There was also a rumor. It's not on our list, but a rumor about Avowed getting delayed.
Yeah, so I didn't put it in there. I was waiting for, I guess, some more clarity around like what's actually happening. But the rumor I've heard is Avowed's getting delayed because the Game Pass lineup for the end of the year is so strong.
Now that's one way of spinning it, right? That's one
way.
That's if I was Microsoft, that's exactly what I would say. Is I would say that that big game that we've been hyping up for years, and that we're like super close to releasing. Yeah, we got other stuff that's way more like we're gonna stack the year. We'll push it. Don't worry about it.
I mean, Microsoft keeps on coming back to this problem though of, hey, we want to have a major AAA release every quarter, and then everything just gets jammed into a small period because everything's coming out at once.
Yeah. I will say that this was of the two major titles coming out of the end of this year. This is not the one I put the money on being delayed.
Yeah.
We hadn't heard release dates for either Avowed or Indiana Jones, and I would put money on Indiana Jones not making it out this year, because Avowed was supposed to come out presumably
I reckon Indy's going to be like late December.
But
which late December
it's terrible time to release a game. Like if you're going to release a game, it's got to be like December. The first week of December is the latest you can release a game in a year.
I reckon second week you can get away with.
Maybe, but like
they did it with Halo Infinite, right?
No, Halo was November.
Wasn't Halo November for multiplayer?
Yeah, I would say Halo's a bit different because they did half and half.
Okay.
But yeah, I get what you mean. But I think that like realistically, I was pitching Indie as a February game and Avowed as a November game.
Well, we always thought Avowed was going to be the one before that would come out before.
In all the timeline stuff, that's the thing that they put. They put Avowed first and then Indie afterwards. But yeah, again, this is a rumor, so we don't want to like speculate probably too much until we know a bit more.
It's fine. Yeah. I'm going to be playing Age of Mythology for the next year anyway. I'm okay with it.
I'm glad. Like if they have a strong, like we talked about last week, like Game Pass has a really strong lineup last month. If they keep having strong lineups, then I think it's less of a problem for us as gamers who just want to play interesting stuff. But from a marketing perspective, from a PR perspective, I think it doesn't look great when the things that you've been promoting to be the big tentpole releases of your year aren't coming out. Yeah, I mean, they have Call of Duty, obviously, which will sell gangbusters, of course, but I don't know.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, do we even think that they have faith in it then after, like, how Hellblade come out? I mean, it was getting some pretty high ratings, but overall, as a game, it's... Yeah,
well, I mean, I think Avowed is a much more ambitious project from a scope perspective, right? Like, it's a much bigger kind of game. It's from a very story developer who make these kinds of games. Like I think to your point, Cameron. Yeah, like you must have you either must be blowing smoke up our ass, or you must have a really fucking strong lineup for the end of the year if you just want to push one of your main games when apparently you don't have to.
Age of Mythology in September.
Yep.
October, Black Ops 6.
Yep.
November. Oh, okay. After that, everything becomes speculation. Yeah, you got
Sure.
Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024.
Yep. Which, they have to release it this year because they put 2024 in the title.
Yep. You got Stalker 2, which will definitely. Okay. We say definitely November. But
Yeah. Okay. I get. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Let's assume that Stalker 2 doesn't get delayed again.
Yep. Indie.
Yep. That would be probably December.
What else is there?
But Flight Sim is going to have a very dedicated fan base, but is not a tentpole release for Microsoft.
Well,
in the same way that Age of Mythology isn't.
Do we think then that maybe Avowed was supposed to be November, but because Stalker got pushed back, maybe they've moved Avowed out?
Potentially, yeah, I can see it. Like it sounds like Avowed is probably not they don't have the Avowed still needs work because we're only in August, so.
I reckon if they moved it because of anything, it would have been because of Stalker. But
all right, so coming up, we've got Star Trucker, Age of Mythology in September, Frostpunk 2. I'm not sure if that's the previous date.
No, that's the.
Was it previously July getting to September?
Yeah, I think it's actually November at this point, isn't it? No, sorry, yes, it was July to September. Yeah, you're right. So I believe September is correct now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Frostpunk. There's some games that feel like more PC heavy. So Frostpunk. Have Call of Duty, Black Ops 6 in October, Microsoft Flight Sim in November, Stalker 2 the day after in November. Every other one of these are like TBD. We don't know exact
it's
date
weird,
for
right?
Jones.
Like, this is the first time in a year where I'm like, we're in August, which is like the beginning of gaming season, right? And we don't know.
We do this every year. We get to Gamescom, the release dates, and we're fine.
You're right. Actually, you're right. I am putting the cart before the horse. You are 100% correct. I'm falling into the same trap where I'm like Madden. Like as soon as Madden comes out, that's when gaming season starts, right? That's the horn that everyone, I don't know.
This will happen, and then we'll be like, oh, we'll get told 80% of the lists at the end of the month.
You are right.
Then we're like, okay, like what about X title?
Yeah.
And then it's that TGS.
Yeah. No, you are actually you're 100% correct.
The only exceptions to those rules are going to be stuff like Hollow Knight and that where they've just
is never coming out. Yeah, for sure.
Don't want to say it's never good. Like the Ultras, I'm really keen for. That's going to be late in the year. We've got stuff like 33 Immortals that doesn't have a release date. Towerborn it was shown at Gamescom last year. I'm pretty sure it's had a beta test.
All right, we'll reserve judgment on the rest of the year until after Gamescom. We'll put a pin in that. But it is interesting, the idea that Avowed being something that they put a lot of marketing push behind. They've done multiple deep dives and shown it off at multiple events, and it does seem interesting that.
I want to know about some of these indies. I want to know about All You Need Is Help. Can you remember?
No.
Seeing the trailer for that?
I don't remember that.
It's the fuzzy wool kind of co-op game that we got really excited for. That looks like Yoshi's Yarn.
Oh World. Yes, yeah, we were, yep. Where you're in the side, the shapes things you got to try and fit together.
The shapes and that you try. Yeah,
that does look like fun. Yeah.
There's Towerborn that I already talked about. Replaced. I'm keen for, but we just need a release date. We've got stuff like Arc 2. Which, I'm not keen for it, but I imagine Arc 2 is going to be one of those bigger games.
That's next year, though, for sure, right? I think.
I mean...
You get Vin Diesel when you haven't done any more marketing. Anyway. Let's move on, because we probably want to...
Yeah. I was going to quickly touch base, too, on, obviously, the Xbox 360 stores down now.
Yep.
Kia's done some really good videos that I wanted to shout out about the functionality of the Xbox 360.
Yep, I've got some more coming. I've only done 2 so far. I'll put them in the Discord under the new stream info channel that I made.
Cool.
Yeah. But
and then the other thing I was quickly going to touch base on is launch model Xbox One consoles with older firmware are reportedly failing to update, which means you cannot use them.
For now, right? Apparently they are looking at some sort of...
I think they're looking into it, but essentially it makes it offline and you can't really do anything with them.
Just, actual brick VCRs, yeah.
Yeah. So, that's pretty rough. But that's the 2 bits of quick news that I wanted to quickly just touch on.
Great. I'll just quickly go through Game Pass updates. So we've got a few joining that we know about. Actually, I think we also need, where was it?
I put these 4 in, but I wasn't sure if there was an updated list.
There isn't an updated list, like defined list yet. We're kind of still waiting because it's the beginning of the month. But I know that they also confirmed that Mafia Definitive Edition was also coming in August as well.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I included that.
Yeah.
So there's the 3 I wanted to talk about: Creatures of Ava, which is like that exciting action adventure, like creature saving.
Looks cute. Looks really good, actually. Yeah.
Yep. Was it solo div?
I don't know, actually.
Runner.
I thought it was like a small studio, but I might be wrong.
So that's August 7th. Mafia Definitive Edition coming August 13th. Core Keeper is coming later in the month on August 27th, where you explore an endless cavern of creatures, relics, and resources in a mining sandbox adventure for 1 to 8 players. Mine, build, fight, craft, and farm to unravel the mystery of the ancient core. And then SOPA, which I think the full name of it is like SOPA and the Mystery of the Potato or something.
Right, okay.
It hasn't got a exact release date other than August 2024. Neo steps into the pantry to fetch a potato for his grandmother and falls into a magical world full of wonders. Meet quirky characters, venture through the depths of South Africa, and learn the importance of the things we pass along in this unforgettable emotional narrative adventure.
South America, but yes.
Did I say South Africa?
You did.
Okay, sorry. South America, yeah.
I'm still interested, what was it? That Atlas Fallen game or whatever it was rumored to be coming out in August as well, that we haven't got confirmation on yet. I know it just got a big update.
Atlas, the rumored one, Atlas, Star Fallen or something like that?
Atlas Fallen.
It's just Atlas Fallen.
Atlas Fallen, yeah,
Atlas
the
Fallen?
look at super generic sand one. Which is really mean to me, but yeah, there was rumor that was coming to Game Pass, which, it looks like a perfect Game Pass game, so I'm curious. They said August was probably when that was happening, so I wonder if that's going to be on the list at some stage.
Yeah.
And we literally, right before we went live, we got confirmation of what's leaving Game Pass, apparently. So apparently Airborne Kingdom, Off-World Trading Company on PC, Shadow Warrior 3 Definitive Edition, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, both the Xbox and the Windows stack.
Any of those easy?
Yeah, Shadow Warrior 3 is super straightforward. It
is? Okay.
Yeah, it is. I would definitely recommend it. I had a good time playing with it. It was very straightforward. It is a Titanfall light, very much like in terms of like it's like wall running, doing like jumping puzzles and then getting to arenas and shooting people and doing challenges. It's really straightforward. I had a good time with it. It has that like ridiculous humor. If you haven't played the other games, the story will be kind of confusing, but it also doesn't fucking matter at all. When you play a guy called Lo Wang. So to give you an idea of I had a good time with it when it came out though.
Yeah. Back from the Duke Nukem days
Yeah.
that originated, so you could imagine the comedy that came along with 3D Realms and their shenanigans. So
For sure.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, okay, it's not. I thought it was easy, but it's 100 to 120 hours.
Yeah, it's asymmetrical multiplayer game, so you need a big grinding group. Like it's not overly difficult, but it will take a long time.
Yeah. Airborne Kingdom looks alright though. Management game for 15, 20 hours.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, not a lot of guides for Airborne Kingdom, so I'm very curious what that actually looks like practically. So I might wait for a few people to chime in if they're thinking about doing it.
Yeah, I might have a look at it. I've only got 2 friends that have started, and one of them's only got 10 achievements.
Yeah, so I don't think people really jumped on it all that much. But nothing I'm too worried about, thankfully.
Cool.
We've also got our monthly theme. So last month was nearly there, where we were talking about games that you were 80% or more of the way through with achievements and you just want to go clean them up. So we decided that in the spirit of it, we're going to be keeping it going for August because people seem to be having a good time with it. In particular, Natalator has been fucking destroying. He's been cleaning up so many games. So we're gonna keep it going. I'm trying to push through my backlog. It's getting me to go back to my 360 days as well. So I'll be posting in that channel if you want to get involved. Jump on. It's the monthly themed channel on our Discord. Themed events. Come say hi. Let us know what you're playing. Let us know what you're progressing. Let us know what you're bashing your head against.
or if you need any help or advice.
Yeah, for sure. We also got the leaderboards. Actually, no. Actually, sorry. We should get into what? Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
You're just skipping over whole sections.
Sorry, yeah, I missed the whole section. I've been looking. I've seen the word hog too many times on this list. Let's get into what we've been playing.
And I'm hungry.
Yes, I only had chicken for dinner. Okay, I need to order a pizza or something. I need some fucking real food. All right, what have we been up to, guys?
I've got one I can start with.
Yeah, go
Go
it.
for it.
I had an itch this morning, and I woke up at like 8, and I'm like, I'm gonna get.
They usually make creams for those these days, but that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
It's good. It's good that you can come to your friends for help.
Yeah. I've got some
Yeah,
good
well, I came
suggestions
to
for you.
Keo for help.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hit me up about the cream. I can help you with this too.
Anyway, I did Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 today. The multiplayer is very easy. You just need to do 10 quick matches. No, like, they just complete a match
Cool.
or a race. It takes probably 10 seconds per race.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
sweet,
just
okay.
a custom match,
Especially on, like, 20
basically.
minutes.
Yeah, easy.
So yeah, most of the remaining achievements I needed today, I was down to my last 8. I had to do drifting, which the waypoint, that's the race mode. The waypoint ones where you just get like boost after you go through a blue like circular tube. You just drive through that, you get your boost, you just boost the next thing and that. There's one outdoor garage kind of area, one where you can just like do a constant drift on the grass.
Right.
Probably took me half an hour to an hour of just going around in circles. That's probably like one of the most grindy achievements in the game. There is also Super Hunt treasure cards that you need to get from purchasing stuff in the store, which I left to last. I had only unlocked one of them. There's 6,000 coins a piece, but you can also have 2 controllers in split screen mode and constantly boost like 1,500 coins. Pretty relatively easy. What else was there? This is a very easy completion compared to the first one. There's no time trials and that are difficult, or at least the first one has a few like really tight time trials. This one is pretty...
It's so straightforward that I actually did all the DLC missions.
Oh.
So it's like you get all the DLC achievements in about 2 minutes, and I just went and did the whole map. I'm just like, it's really straightforward.
Both games have like the use one of the cars from the DLC, do a particular campaign match, and what's the other one? Quick race.
Yeah. The two of them basically
form
unlock at the same time because you're doing them in tandem. So,
all right. I have been looking for something like this to play, so I think I might actually install this after the show.
The longest thing for me was your 100 podium matches.
Yep.
But by the time you finish the campaign, you should have 50 of them done. I would say do the... I think there's like an outdoor area with a mini golf section. It might be called spinning golf. Just do that. It'll take 2 minutes per race, 1,500 coins.
Cool.
Relatively easy. But then we also realized that when me and Kay were doing it, that was also counting.
Oh, okay.
So if you have a community track as well, you could easily knock that out.
Cool.
Yeah.
But you may as well try and get everything done at the same time.
Got it.
I'm pretty much just going to smash through mine because I've had a really quick week. Flintlock, I haven't really made much progress. I did the 50,000 experience off the 2 enemies.
So you're right at the end of the game then.
Yeah, I'm surprised. It's easy. I like these kind of games. I reckon it's a pretty good AA experience.
Yeah.
I
think I can understand why it got scores in the 6s. I personally think
the rumors going around now are that what's the studio's name?
4A Studio. No, no.
A44.
A44. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a rumor going around that saying, there's probably going to be mass layoffs. I think they peaked at like 500 players at Steam.
Oh, geez, that's a shame.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they went from Ashen to this. I think Ashen had some really good ideas as well.
People seem to like that game quite a bit.
Bit disappointing. But then, I mean, whenever a major release also happens, contractors will get laid off, team downsizes. So I don't know, 100% no. I'm enjoying my time with it, but I'm going pretty slow and steady. I feel like the boss fights, the two major boss fights that I've done, basically rinse and repeat the same kind of
Yeah.
pattern.
The
Not their fighting
strategy
patterns, but
becomes
how you have to deal
basically
with them.
the strategy becomes use your gun to stagger them, and then use the attack and magic at the same time to get heals, and then
Yeah.
just use your gun again. You could basically stun lock every enemy in the game to death.
But like, I feel like when you're going through chapter 2 as well, it's a lot more. It's not a lot more enjoyable because you've unlocked those abilities.
For sure, yeah. The game becomes a lot more fun once you have new tools and stuff, and you don't feel like you're being hamstrung. Yeah, I think the early part of the game is probably the weakest.
Yeah. Other than that, I've been doing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 pretty much every night. I did one zombie. Oh, sorry, I did two zombie matches with my good friend Ireland. It's not. I don't know. Problem I have with Call of Duty at the moment is I've done majority of multiplayer, but multiplayer matches, I would say 1 in 8 matches crashes, or it
Jeez.
will
Really?
freeze on PC.
Right.
So it will crash. Like I should have no problem running it. I've got a beefy PC now, but it'll get to a bit in the match where it feels like it's rubber banding really badly. But
Yeah.
the rubber banding is like constant. I don't know.
The problem that I had, because I installed that on PC today, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, not Call of Duty, because I can talk about that now.
Yeah.
I installed it and tried to play that from the Windows Store version today, and the problem with Call of Duty, and it happens on console no matter what, is that it preloads and streams textures no matter what. You can't have it
Oh.
not do this.
Yeah.
It's all streaming through the backend textures to the game before you get to an area and stuff. So when I was trying to load into zombies, it was always coming up with the area that the preload textures were not loading fast enough for me to play the game properly. And as soon as everything loaded in, I was being attacked by zombies already because the match had already started.
Right.
The zombies detected that I was there, and I died. Just as I loaded in, there was like, because I obviously hadn't loaded in yet. Like my character model hadn't even loaded in, the map hadn't loaded in, but the zombies were there when I loaded in, detected me, and I died instantly. So, and that might be me playing around with some of my local settings, but there's some huge it's not great.
Like
In that sense.
I'll load into a match though. I'll have this problem like I want to say 1 to every 8 matches.
Mhm.
Load in, I'll get halfway through the match, everything's going great, top of the leaderboard, and then massive like rubber banding. But then it's constant throughout the rest of the match, and the only way to reset it is to leave the match. And I don't know if it's a connection setting or if it's something else. But it's
Yeah.
just a pain in the ass. These I pretty much feeling like if I'm playing multiplayer, I'm going to do free for all. I want to do hardcore game types. Like I want to avoid all the I hate team deathmatch when I'm playing Call of Duty.
Right.
I'll do kill confirmed because it's easy to get points.
Yeah.
I'll do free for all because it keeps showing
And
your
just
toes.
nothing with an objective, obviously.
No, I'll do hardcore and domination and stuff like
Okay,
that.
yeah, fair. All right.
But I feel like team deathmatch is too basic, and then capture the flag and all that kind of stuff. You just can never get into matches.
I was saying no one ever plays those matches, unfortunately.
I love capture, but I can never find matches.
If you want to play capture like you want to do that kind of stuff, you got to play like Battlefield. That's like objective based game modes. Just Battlefield is the way to go. Otherwise, it's just deathmatch and TDM.
But yeah, and then we did a little bit of zombies, which I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of. Only because I used to love stuff like Hintertoten, like during
for sure.
Black Ops 1 and
Mhm.
like the basic version of what I expect zombies to be. It's like Warzone mixed with it and that now. And
Yeah. Well, this is an improvement of the open world version that they had from the last game.
what was
Not
the
this
last-
game, but Cold War.
Cold
They
War,
had some
right,
really good open world areas that were basically pretty empty outside of doing objectives and just heaps of zombies and but yeah, the objectives were all really good, and these are very, very similar. So it's definitely a follow on of that, but a huge improvement. So.
I think that's pretty much it for Call of Duty. The last thing I'll quickly mention is me and Stubby are like smashing through Lords of the Fallen at the moment. We've just finished his second playthrough where he did the Radiant ending. I've now started mine last night and we got through, I would say probably 2/5 of the game,
Okay.
like all in one night. So I'm pretty happy with that. We're getting my stigmas though. We're getting 4 quest lines done. Like now that I understood like how things fit together, it's fine. It's just seeing a list like that with 30 missed balls straight off the bat
Yeah,
just
it's not great.
scares me off.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you. That's the thing that's been keeping me from like installing it because I know it's just going to be.
It's one of those games that like you'll really like after like your second playthrough. Like everything's clicked together as to where I need to be going in that now. The only thing I'm dreading is doing the Iron Man run because you're swapping between both the Umbriel and the the normal realm. It's so easy to like die from a platform.
Sure,
Like
yeah,
one
you
wrong
need to
step
need to be
kind of
quick
thing.
on your cloud saves. Yeah.
Yeah. Bit of a pain, but yeah, that's pretty much me for the week. Oh, and buying a shit ton of stuff for 360
Yeah, right,
before
of
it was
course.
closed.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Um,
yeah, Kia,
yeah,
go ahead.
I'll go ahead with mine. So the two I'm going to touch on first. So I've had a couple of really interesting things happen this week, but first of all, last week we decided, group of 4 of us decided to start Battlefield 4 on 360 because the problem that we were going to have is that when the 360 store shut down, you would no longer be able to buy or rent servers.
Right.
So we smashed that out in a week, the whole
That's
thing. And
crazy.
then by the end of it, all I had to do was idle 20 hours in a bunch of maps because there's 3 DLC packs that need you to wait for 10 hours essentially on a map for them to pop. But it's one of the final things you do after the assignments uh, that you also have to do to get to that point to get the achievement. So yeah, but it was absolutely insane. We were just playing every night trying to get this done, and yeah. So my wife is glad we're done with that. So I did a last minute completion of a short hike.
Oh yeah,
So,
love that game.
yep, a 7 hour short hike, you could say. So just getting collectibles and all that kind of business. I overall didn't
Doesn't
have,
sound like a short hike.
well, it's a moderate hike. It's
Yes.
7 hours is a moderate hike.
Yeah, the
So,
short hike of the title is actually kind of a joke because that's what they tell you as a short hike, and
yeah,
then you realize that you're massively unfit and you can't
yeah,
climb the fucking hill.
yeah. You get about 6 feathers and you're good to go to the top pretty much. So, but yeah. So, just poking about with that at night, and then I'm like, oh, I really want to get this done before Game Pass finishes. And it was still the 31st or something, and it was still the first yesterday, and I was still able to play it up until 5 p.m. or something. Actually, well, that was around the time I was playing it. 15 minutes past 5, I'm like, oh, there's a play this game and talk to this person at 5 p.m. achievement. And I just missed it. So I'm like, if I'm going to finish this, I have to close the game, go to my clock it back to Perth time, which is like half an hour back or something, and then log back into the game, wait 15 minutes, and then get a piece of toast from this character.
Yeah, that's right.
So I had to go and do that and then finish off the game. And actually ended up loading up Welsh Hunter's guides for that last bit. So shout out to Welsh Hunter for the final couple of achievements with that one. So
Right.
yeah. But yeah, so I'll just touch on the other stuff I was doing. Monday, I spent all day just putting discs in my 360, checking for title updates, doing all kinds of stuff with that, installing, downloading games, checking Lego Dimensions and stuff like that. In case, was one of the problems with Lego Dimensions is that you have to put the characters. You can load up the game and put them all on a download list, but you have to be in the game, go to the download menu, download all the basically all the content packs, and then you're good. But some of them also, I've heard from Jester, a friend of ours, he at one point put a character on and it had a newer update of the pack than the download content.
Oh.
So there was a risk that that could probably be lost if you don't load it up with the character on. Because the problem that he was having is that, and this has happening to me, is that every time you get to a save point, it brings up the save menu and then saves but then doesn't. It just keeps kind of bringing up that save menu, kind of being really funny about whether or not you're saving and choosing start hard drive storage. And, it's kind of finicky, but it's basically extra effort every time it auto saves, because the game used to have specific points on the map where in all the levels you had to go to the different spots, specific spots to save during a level. But then they updated the game to auto save, and they took those points out. So now it's just got this funny update thing where it brings up the can't find your storage device, choose a save location, blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff in the middle of that. So yeah, like the purchasing and all that kind of stuff, making sure I had all my DLC for games I didn't have. There was stuff like Kane and Lynch Dope Bag that I swore I would have purchased at some point. And there was a couple of things like Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, where there's a couple of DLCs that are only on the 360. Nothing mandatory for achievements, but there's like a relic pack and some Dracula thing that I kind of wanted. That once you bought it, it would appear on the one. Notably, Defense Grid is a game that's delisted, but the DLC is still available. But it was a Games with Gold game, and that you could go on the 360 and you could buy a lot of the packs off the website, I believe. But there's a specific one that you might not have been able to get. You had to load it up on the 360 for that to appear on the one store. So I did all of that as well. So, and the last thing was that I happened upon a friend last week updated his computer rig to a new MSI desktop, and decided to get rid of his old MSI Raider laptops. So I bought it off him really cheap, and I've been tooling around with that all week, trying to get it working, because it had his version of Windows installed. He tried to reinstall it. I had some problems. So it's got a full-size RTX 2070 card in it. And I've been rolling around with my Windows Surface, overloading it, going, what can I test? What can I get this to work? And I'm just like, it's not worth killing my Surface if I can get this thing really cheap and actually play. I've tested stuff like Control works when it didn't work on my Surface. I downloaded Warhammer Darktide that had some other problems. When I realized that my NVIDIA drivers need to be updated, and I needed to download the thing for that. So all of this new PC stuff that I haven't had for so long. It's been a long time since I've actually had anything relatively close to a decent recent rig, right? So, and first time I've had a proper, like, relevant graphics card, I would say, ever probably. So besides me building one years and years ago. So, so yeah, so now I can play some PC games as well, which will be really nice. As I said before, I tried Call of Duty, and there's some problems with all that. So just got to get all the settings right. But the Windows Store is pretty good because it can detect a lot of your relevant settings and auto loads games up properly. But yeah, Darktide was a particularly big problem until I worked out the graphics card thing. So
yeah, I've had to do a lot of like driver messing around and kind of just trying to, again, because I never built a PC before. And then trying to figure out like what I fucking actually need to have this thing running properly is always fun. It's a fun thing coming from consoles where you, for the most part, you put the disc in and it works.
Fun fact about the 360 stuff though is that some people are finding, and I have as well, finding things on their download history list that they never even knew was there, or that they downloaded and forgot about, which is really, really interesting. So, and you can actually, like, the 360 loads so much faster now as well.
They're taking all the bloat out.
Yeah, exactly. All of that back-end stuff, like the simplified menus, everything, but you can look through your download list and find a whole bunch of stuff. Basically, yeah, it's been really good.
Compatibility packs and all that is so accessible as well, right?
Yes, that was one of my next videos, actually, because I've loaded up specifically Batman Telltale on the 360 post-store closing to show that you can still buy the free games from a season pass just to download it. And I've heard the compatibility packs also work as well.
Very curious if that's true for Borderlands as well, because I know that.
Yeah, so if you've got a couple of games you want me to test, I can delete and then try and re-download some of these things.
Yeah.
So any suggestions just to check a couple of games I can do a quick video for?
Yeah, I would
just let me know.
The Borderlands ones
I think Borderlands
because they definitely had a lot of
compatibility.
Yeah, 2 and the pre-sequel both had compatibility
Pre-sequel
packs.
had we noticed I can't remember who it was. We noticed that when you go into the game and you download all of the stuff that's available on the store, there's still one you have to go out and then into the Xbox store um through the disc. You press X, go
Yeah.
to whatever extras and stuff, and there's one there that may just be redundant or irrelevant because the other one maybe it's superseded by something else, but there was still one that it's like just in case it would get better, get this one as well.
Yeah.
So
When I was checking Pre-Sequel the other day,
Mm.
they prompted me to download 2 compatibility
Yeah,
packs.
I got both as well, just to be safe. I
Yeah.
don't know if you need both of them, but yeah.
yeah, well those prompts, it's then you go to the 360 store and there's another one
Oh,
which
Okay.
I've saw it might have been Super Bob or something. Might have noticed it. I can't remember, but
that'd be a good one to get done, actually. It's been sitting there for a long time.
Yep.
All right. And then in terms of what I've been playing, I haven't had much time. Work has been crazy, so I have been. So I did a bit more Warfare 3. It's kind of been my kind of campaign thing that I've just been slowly working my way through. I'm about halfway through the campaign. I know it's not very long, but I'm also trying to remember what the fuck happened in the previous campaigns, because they were good, but they're also, they weren't like, they weren't super impactful in terms of story. Story isn't the main reason people play those games.
I feel like 2019 was really good and the 2 just went off the handle.
Yeah, 2 was nuts. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so going back to my 360 list, I was going through my sleeve of games, and I was buying things that still had digital versions, and then looking at stuff. It's like, this has been removed from the store. I'm like, fuck, well, I need to keep the disc. So one of the games that I still have the disc for is Forza Motorsport 2, which I played. My last achievement, I think, unlock was 2009, which was still soon enough to have done the auction house if I'd fucking thought about it. But that's fine. It is what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't as much of an achievement hunter. I mean, I'd only been achievement hunting for a couple of years back then, and racing games weren't really my thing. So, unfortunately, it looks like that my save was on an old 360, so I lost all my progress, so I have to start from scratch. So I am currently going through the career mode at the moment, leveling up to
That's
50.
a big career mode.
It is a big career.
Man.
Thankfully, you can hire drivers to do most
Yeah,
of the
you
other
can
races
with
and
that.
stuff.
That's
So it's fine. It'll just take some time. I've been kind of running it every now and then, and just kind of doing a race every now and then. It's getting there. You have to buy all the cars, so it's going to take some time. And then I'm slowly doing a little bit of the online. We got to do 1 million credits, and that'll take you about like an hour at a time, depending on how many people you have racing, doing a 75 lap race. And you get, if you have one player quit, the players can quit out once they start. So if you have one player, you get like 40k credits, so that takes a long time. But if you have like 8 players, like you get like 250k. So if you have 8 players, you could do it in 4 hours per person. So I'm thinking about trying to maybe get a group of us together, at least maybe just like jump into a game, start it, quit out, and we just kind of rotate through people so they can get some credits. Would be really, really good to get this one obviously done. Obviously, I won't finish it completely because of that auction house achievement, but at that stage, I can at least get rid of the disc and kind of be done with the game, which would be great. I did have a bit of a moment this morning, though, when I tried to turn on the game to run some races, and my 360 just would not start at all. It was working fine the night before, would just push the button, nothing happened. So I unplugged it. I did a bunch of like testing stuff and like put it into different PowerPoints and stuff. Eventually I got it working, but it took several hours of leaving it unplugged for it to whatever. But I am very, very concerned that my 360 is on the way out, or at the very least, maybe the power supply is. So I am really going to be pushing the 360 to just try and get as much of it done as I can at this point, I think.
Then you buy another one.
If I have to, I will go out and buy another one. I'll probably buy an E.
Realistically, Facebook Marketplace, $50.
Yeah, sure, exactly. Yeah, I will try and find a relatively new one. Maybe might try to find the E series one, maybe.
Yeah, I'd still probably recommend not buying an E, but yeah,
sure. I mean, whatever works at this stage. I've made sure to upload like all of my save files to the cloud, so it would just be re-downloading the games themselves. Yeah, and then the only other thing I've been playing, which I talked a little bit about last week, was Saints Row, the 2022 game. So I was a little bit down on this last week. I'd only played a couple of missions, but I wasn't really feeling the tone. It was very, millennial Zoomer humor. There's a guy who doesn't wear a shirt who keeps talking about waffles. There's a guy who's wearing a bow tie who's all about, like, he listens to, like, motivational business podcasts. And then there's just a Latina woman who drives really good and is a mechanic. That's her personality. Oh, she's also an art history major. Now, I don't like this game. This game is bad. This game is like I was trying to figure out where this fits on the scale because I was gonna be like, oh, it's like your 7 out of 10. But I'm like, I've played good 7. Like we've talked about 7 out of 10 experiences that are like Flintlock is a 7 out of 10 game, right?
Yeah.
Flintlock is a good game.
Yeah.
Like Flintlock has its lot of rough edges, and it's got some problems, but it has like a core that's really interesting. This does not have that. This game is. I love the original Saints Row series, and I'm trying not to look at this with rose-tinted glasses and be like, okay, how does this actually compare to Saints Row versus how do I remember Saints Row being as a kid? This is very much a reboot in that it reminds me a lot of maybe Saints Row 1 and 2. Outside of like 3 was kind of where they started getting really wacky with like, dildo bats and VTOLs and that kind of shit. And there are little bits of elements of that here. But this game just feels so fucking bland. It's really boring. It's so rote. The characters are completely uninteresting and one-dimensional. And like Saints Row's never had amazing writing, right? But when you get into Saints Row like 3 and 4, some of that shit is some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in video games ever. There's a tone there. There's like a tone there that's like, GTA has had always had like a layer of satire going through it in terms of like lambasting modern day culture, whereas like Saints Row was like, we're just gonna like do some crazy shit and just like, 4 ends up with you in a fucking computer simulation doing Matrix shit. 3 was a little bit more pulled back, but even 3 had like crazy shit of like, I don't know, there's so much bombast and hilariousness and like great character moments and like self-aware humor that just kind of worked for me in those games. And I still know that those work because I went back and did the remastered versions a little while ago and I still had a great time.
Even Get Out of Hell, wasn't that commentated by Jane Austen? Was it?
Yes,
Jane?
the joke is that because of the time travel stuff that they have Jane Austen doing. I mean, to be fair, actually, Jane Austen actually narrated 4 as well. It was the reveal at the end.
Okay.
Was it 3 or 4 that began with I don't want to miss the thing?
That was 4 because it's like 4. Right. It was that again. This game like this game's a 5 out of 10. I'll say it right now.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe it was a 7, but actually thinking about games that I actually like as 7s, I'm like, no, this is actually a 5. It is right in the middle, completely inoffensive. It's a massive collectathon. It has open world stuff all the way through it with no real substance. It just feels like padding. The story is completely uninteresting. The action is not great. The gunplay is really just dull. It feels like a fan reimagining of the first game. But the first game still had a real, like, the first game leaned on like the gangster thing, like the gangbanger kind of, the first game had you pouring out 40s on your homies to revive them. And
your description reminds me of the newest Matrix movie.
Yeah, that's kind of, and like I like the newest Matrix movie in some ways. I think it's interesting, but very very much like a retread of the original, like trying to recapture that magic. But this game just feels like a fan version of the first game. Like it's like a Mad Libs version of, they just kind of inserted characters in here. Like the gangs are completely uninteresting. Like the leadership of those gangs was usually something that, like in the other games, that was kind of like they were funny or they were fun foils, or you'd get interesting cutscenes, you'd have funny moments. I don't like any of the characters. The mission design is really bad. It plays okay. Here's the thing, I've put maybe 40 hours into this game so far. I'm pretty much done with the main game. I've done like all the side quests, completed all the areas. I just have like challenges left to do and then like miscellaneous, and then the DLC, which is the one thing that's really, I really enjoyed. Like there was a part where I was like, this is great, I love this, is that there's a set of quests towards the end of the game that is an entire citywide LARP. And if you don't know what LARP is, live action roleplay. So the whole thing is that a bunch of characters that have shown up again in literal cardboard and duct tape outfits and are all talking like there's a mixture of people, like it's like Mad Max meets like fantasy. And so you literally get like cap guns and you shoot people and they all do over dramatic deaths. And like there's so many animations that they just did for this, where there's a guy, you normally do your like special like takedown attacks where you like stab a guy in the head 3 times and do like a bicycle kick or some shit. This is where it's like the guy standing there and you like pretend to like a million punch on him and he does like grabs his chest and falls. Like it's like, it reminded me so much of that amazing scene in Tales from the Borderlands where they have the fake gunfight.
Yeah.
It's that extended out for an entire quest chain. And it has like you doing like fort stuff. It's got you assembling like a thing that's going to take down a wall. There's actually a minivan that you've strapped like worm things on. It's so funny and fun. And like the best humor in the game is from that. Like there's a part where it's like, hey, you need to sneak into this base. And it goes, okay, you are. I'm going to go down in the cover of night, and I'm going to make sure I'm down. I'm going to make sure I'm upwind, and I'm going to sneak in. And it's like, oh no, actually, don't worry about it. Like I have an invisibility potion, and so as long as you put your arms as an X, people have to pretend like you're invisible, and then you can go and literally karate chop them in the back of the head, and they have to die. And so so like there's a part where you walk up and the guy's like, hey, there's a guy. He's like, fuck, you're invisible. So he has to be like, all right. He's like, all right, well, I guess I'll turn around and you'll hit me, whatever. And it was really funny and like it was really clever. And like one of the DLC packs is like a Game of Thrones, like it starts with the blue wedding, like a whole thing about it. They realized that was a really, really good part of like the best part of the game. They made a whole DLC pack on it. And playing through that, I'm like, I'm having a great fucking time here. This is like the satire stuff. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but everything else around the game is like there's like there's like betrayals and story beats and all this kind of stuff. I didn't care about any of the characters. I didn't care about any of the gameplay. The guns are really boring. They don't have a lot of the fun weapons and stuff. It just felt like they'd taken the Saints Row formula, tried to take it back to basics, but just took it too far and just didn't realize what actually made Saints Row an interesting series to start with, which is a real shame.
Do you think there is an audience for this game?
No, that's what I'm like. I don't think so. I think that it's so milquetoast, middle of the road, not funny, not interesting. Like it's played like for a game from a series. Like let me put it this way: they have the music. They do the musical interludes in like they did in Saints Row 3 and 4, right? But the music doesn't really match that well, and they just felt like they just picked some tracks that like they do. Sound of the Police is in there. It doesn't really add much to the environment. There's there's a DMX track in there that doesn't really, like, it just feels like they're kind of like, hey, that was the thing that we did in the last game. I mean, fuck me. Saints Row 4 starts with like they don't want to miss a thing, right? It's like the entire first mission of that game is makes fun of Metal Gear Solid and Splinter Cell, where you're shooting out lights and hiding in cardboard boxes. Has I don't want to miss a thing where you're on a where you're trying to disarm a missile, and has everyone doing cheesy goodbyes, even though some of them don't even know you. And then you literally destroy the missile, drop into the White House, into the Oval Office, and then you get the next mission. You're elected president, and you have to decide whether you want to end world hunger or destroy cancer. And then some guy tells you he's going to filibuster you, and you punch him in the dick. And the tagline for that game was "From the crack house to the White House." Right? Like, that is so fucking perfect. And they went from that to this, where they were like, yeah, you're like you're going to like disrupt the system by like starting a gang. And it's just like, yeah.
Was it 4 or was it 3 that had the really over the top marketing campaign that was like their $1 million collector's edition?
I think that was 4. I think, where it was like they got you like Botox and a Lamborghini or something.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, it was like $1 million. It was so funny.
It feels weird though, because you'd think this new Saints Row would go over the top, not.
Yeah, there's so much of like, because again, it's been a long time since we've had a Saints Row game. You know, like Get Out of Hell was a 360 Xbox One crossover like game.
Like 2013.
Yeah, 2013, 2014, like that era. So it's been like 10 years, I guess 2022. So eight or so years, and there's bits of Saints Row in there. You know, like they still do the fleur-de-lis and like the pink, the purple, and like just like, for example, there's some like the radio stuff is kind of funny, but it still just feels like it feels like the same way that Saints Row was a parody of GTA back in the day, where there was like a response to GTA being like, let's just like Boys in the Hood up this to like a ridiculous level. This feels like they're trying to ape Saints Row, and it's like a copy of a copy of a copy, and it just loses something every time they do it. I mean, they still have the fast food chain Freckle Bitches in that thing, which was a joke around Wendy's, and how like they use a Pippi Longstocking style, cute redhead as their marketing thing, but also the actual Wendy is now like a overweight bloated smoker or whatever. They don't. They call it FBs because they just. I presume because they don't want to say the word bitch because it's kind of weird and derogatory these days. And it's just like it feels like this game is. You can't be. I don't want to be one of these like go woke, go broke thing, right? Because like it wasn't about that. Like I don't think that is the reason this game failed. But you can't be like it's hard for you to make fun of things, but also be sensitive to.
You can't pull your punches.
Yeah, that's the thing. It feels like it's trying to have it both ways,
to,
where it's like, you're trying to be inclusive, and like there are jokes about it being like it's 2022, you can't say things like that, right? But like, if you're going to make a game about fucking gangbangers and this kind of shit and just kind of ridiculous off the wall stuff and just offensive humor, I just
then go harder though, but
yeah.
give commentary. Like if that's the message you want to do, go hard on it and then explain why it's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And there are bits of it. Like there is some fun social commentary stuff around like PMC groups. Like you start off working for a mercenary group, but it's just like the gangs aren't interesting. There's just so much in here that I'm just playing through it and being like, I'm playing through this and I'm playing through it and I'm like having an okay time because I'm just kind of mindlessly ticking off objectives. But I didn't really enjoy any of it really. Like outside of that LARP stuff, which was like a like 3 or 4 like quest line thing. Most of like the side quest stuff is really dull. The characters aren't interesting. Like I said, there's so much wrong with this game that I can totally understand someone being like, "Oh, this is a 5 out of 10 game. Of course, this is going to sink our studio." It just doesn't take any chances.
I want to expand out on this topic a little bit because I'm looking at a few reviews here, and some players are saying this is a fantastic open world experience. Like in terms of the open world itself,
I don't know. I mean, I think it's fine, but I still think like Saints Row 3 and 4 did it better. Saints Row 4 literally allowed you to
like
glide.
just driving around the cities, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like you had like super speed, like the freedom of movement was great. This game is very much like the city's kind of bland. There's a lot to do there. Like it's like okay, there's 245 different collectible like discovery style collectibles. There's like 400 different things you need to collect and do if you want 100% this game. I mean, you can kind of skip some of it, but it's quite like it's not empty, but it's not none of it's interesting. Yeah, they even managed to make like I don't know, like it's the whole thing where it's like you finish a territory and you put a business on each of the territories, and each of those has like a side quest. So one of them is like the classic insurance fraud, throw yourself in front of cars thing. One of them is like, hey, we need you to go and steal trucks and bring them back. And there's a couple of those. None of them were all that interesting. None of them had like interesting story stuff related to them. Like they were just basically like very like it felt like an MMO quest chain. Actually, a lot of the stuff has very like MMO style fetch quests and just kind of really boring quest design, unfortunately.
The feedback I'm reading here now is like it's got terrible writing, characters, and fuck all to do in it.
Yeah.
But they loved how like the fantastic open world.
I mean, it's fine. Like I think it's I don't like it's the one thing that makes the game.
How do you fuck up a Saints Row?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's yeah.
So I was watching Scallop's reviews this week about Mafia.
Yeah.
And then I think he was talking some commentary on Saints Row
about how that series is done. Yeah, exactly. So that's all you get.
I think it's unfair. I think he's making commentary on like nobody will like
no one does GTA style games anymore because
like I don't think this is the reason though. I think this was just a misstep. I agree. I think this is you could do a GTA Lite in this day and age and it's still
the biggest problem with this game are the characters and the tone. Like I think the open world stuff is fine for open world stuff. It's very bland, but it's very inoffensive. Like I don't think like this. Like I did all of it. Like I've just been running through all of it and just having an okay time with it, and not like I haven't been bashing up my head against it or being like, oh, this fucking sucks. I hate doing this. It's just like it's fine. It's like you'll play Getaway Driver and do 10 of those. You'll do 12 of like, hey, race your car across the one time, but don't get caught by the cop stuff. Like it's just your standard. It's really really basic open world stuff.
The thing I'm sad about with Saints Row specifically this one is I feel like back in the 360 age, we had such open experimentation when it came to open world, where it'd be I guess Mafia is an older game, but then it got the definitive edition and that.
And Mafia 2 and yeah.
Mafia 2 and that. You've got Watch Dogs. you've got games like that. There's even like a comment that I'm reading here. It says like Cyberpunk was, think of launch, still had a wonderful environment to explore.
Sure. Yeah,
I feel
absolutely.
like we don't have that with a lot of these open world games.
Because the only people who still make open world games is Ubisoft, right? And they make the same game every time. And like even what Watch Dogs has done, Legion didn't do well.
Yeah, but Legions was because of its play as anyone mechanic.
Yeah, right. Which was the kind of swing at the fences of like to do something different and interesting. It just didn't work out.
Going back on 360 to play the first one, I was just like, now I remember why I spent like 2 whole days just smashing through this.
It's a good game. Like it's not amazing, right? And I think it definitely suffers.
I think the story lets it down, but like in terms of the game itself, I think it's like Assassin's Creed. They had a really good, first swing at it, and then they perfected it with the second, or not perfected
but
it,
improved it significantly.
Improved it significantly.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Um,
But yeah, so I still have a little bit more to do. I still have some DLC stuff. They have one of the DLC packs is like a little mini roguelite kind of thing where you're on an island, you have to get your own weapons and like level up 4 different characters with different abilities and stuff, and it's just kind of, it'll take me a few hours to do. And then the other DLC is the kind of the LARP expansion, which I'm probably going to do next. But I needed a break from it because I put like 40 hours into it over the last week. And just kind of hasn't really been. It's between. I've been doing that on one hand, and then Forza Motorsport 2 on the other. So I've been doing a lot of repetitive stuff this week, and I just need a break. I need to play something else. So
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah.
But anyway, I've been talking way too long. That's plenty. That's probably more said for Saints Row than ever needs to be. Let's move on. All right, so we've got the leaderboards. So. I'll get the most updated version here. In third place, we have Martel with 10,220. In second place, we have Basham with 19,585. And of course, in first, we have Thrash Forever once again with 21,295. Because the man does not know when to quit.
I'm going to Thrash Forever.
Yeah, apparently. We only have a few completions. Keo, do you want to read through those?
Yes, Alpha D Pills here did Cyberpunk. The Moonzom did Tomb Raider, the 2013 one, I believe.
Yep.
Natolinator did Food Truck Tycoon and Fight Night 3. Are they both his 80% ones?
Apparently, yes, I think so, yeah.
Okay. Vex173 did lots of Minecraft, and Code Phoenix did Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah, nice work, guys. Definitely try and get those 80%, those monthly theme ones in. Be curious to see what people are working on. We've also got the word challenge, which got guessed yesterday or the day before. It was Darksiders 2. So Isaac once again guessed it. He did feel a bit bad about winning it twice in a row, but if you don't guess, you don't win. So he's been making the list. So yes, it was a defunct publisher, so THQ is no longer around. The game did get remastered with the Definitive Edition. And it's the second game in the series. So congratulations. I'm going to have to come up with a new game for next week. So keep an eye out. And I've set them as $20. And if you want to win $20, make sure you start getting your guesses in early.
Yes.
Cameron, you want to read through the patrons?
Yeah. Special thanks to Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Natalator, Lefty 2097, Admiral Awesome, Heavy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hackenpone, Cavalier 07, pardon me, Old Mate Clown, Marco B, Mick 11 Legend, Message, Left Legacy, and McNulty. Thank you. We appreciate you. And we couldn't do the show without you.
Yes. If you are a Patreon, we haven't done a lot of behind the scenes content over the last few weeks because we've just been so flat out that we haven't actually had much time to talk before and after the show. So there's nothing really to hear. But we are looking to do some more of that when, as time permits, as things calm down a little bit. And also, getting that last episode of Fallout out, we're trying to find some time to record that. So I'm looking like it'll probably be myself, Cameron, Akio, and Char on that episode to talk about the final episode of Season 1 of Fallout, several months after it came out.
We've been busy.
To be fair, we have been fucking busy.
Mm-hmm.
We had plans this morning.
Yeah. But
and the match just like, here's the rug.
Yeah. I'm gainfully employed, which makes things difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's.
If you want to throw more money at us,
yes, I mean that's the thing. It's like, if we make enough money on the Patreon that I can quit, I'll do a fucking podcast every fucking day. I don't give a shit. We'll do every single piece of gaming media ever created.
We'll do gaming. We'll do like a U up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll do a
podcast.
relationship podcast. It'll be great. But yeah, that's going to bring us towards the end of the show. As always, we do the show live on Twitch, Xbox Hall of Gamers, place to find us. Come say hi. A big thank you to Sigma and Redemption and Zach for joining us in the chat this week. We usually do this show on Fridays or Saturdays, depending on the weeks, depending on who our guests are, or hosts are, I should say. So just keep an eye on the Discord. We usually put an announcement in there. All right, and that's going to bring us to the end. Cameron, have you got anything you want to shell?
Shadowless AU and pretty much everything. I'm getting back into streaming. Played a little bit of Flintlock. Other than that, yeah, just doing some Lords on stream with Stubby.
Sweet. Kia?
Come watch and realize how difficult this is.
Yeah, so I'm Kia live at home pretty much everywhere, including in the Discord, and you can also find me at How to Fix Gaming on YouTube, where I'm currently posting some 360 videos after the postal shutdown and stuff like that, and streaming Resident Evil 2 still at the moment. So,
and I'm Neomaster on everything, True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord. If you are an audio listener, remember that we do put the VODs up with a nice little thumbnail that Char does every week on the YouTube, so you can go check out our videos there if you want to look at the backlog or you missed an episode. Otherwise, you can listen to us on all your wonderful podcasting platforms. That's been episode 134. We will catch you guys next week. See you later.
peace out.
Bye, everyone.